प्रिय श्रोता बंधु 90.4 मेगाहर्ट्ज रे आपण माने सुनुचंती रेवेन्सा रेडियो ओडिसा रो प्रथम कैंपस कम्युनिटी रेडियो स्टेशन।
Good afternoon, Katak. Ravenshaw Radio 90.4 welcomes you all to today's show. As the weather outside is very cloudy and the temperature outside is 26 degrees centigrade. Welcoming you all to today's show. As today Ravenshaw Radio 90.4 is observing International Press Freedom Day. And International Press Freedom Day has actually done a lot of wonders in very international level, as it has given the press the rights which they actually need and the freedom which they actually need to report about things, happenings and the news around the world. So with this, I would like to start today's show. We in our panel have a very honoring guest. Our guest for today's show is Dr. Jayanta Kumar Swain, who is assistant professor in Department of Journalism and Mass Communication and who has 15 years of experience in the field of reporting and news. And with this, I would like to start today's show. This is RJ Javed with.
This is RJ Soumyashree.
And today we are observing International Press Freedom Day. So first of all, I would like to say something about World Press Freedom Day. World Press Freedom Day was established by the United Nations General Assembly in 1993, following a recommendation by UNESCO's General Conference. The day was created to raise awareness about the importance of press freedom and to highlight the challenges faced by journalists worldwide in carrying out their duties. The United Nations General Assembly declared May 3 to be World Press Freedom Day, or just World Press Day, observed to raise awareness of importance of freedom, the press, and remind governments of their duties to respect and uphold the right of freedom of expression enriched under the Article 19 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and marking the anniversary of Windhoek Declaration, a statement of free press principles put together by African newspaper journalists in Windhoek in 1991. So, we got a very brief about World International Press Freedom Day, but we have a very honoring guest in our panel. So, we would like to know a lot more about Press Freedom Day. So, with this, first of all, I would like to welcome sir. Hello, sir.
Thank you.
So, I would like to ask you the first question. Why do we observe World Press Freedom Day?
First of all, it's my sincere regards to all the listeners of the Ravenshaw Radio. Like every year, we celebrate World Press Freedom Day, and the significance of this year is that we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of the World Press Freedom Day. So, as you have rightly said that in 93, the UN General Assembly that proclaimed that the 3rd May will be observed as the Press Freedom Day. So this journey began for substantial progress towards enabling a free press and the freedom of expression around the world. So there was a very growing concern, and with these very noble initiatives by the UN agencies, so it facilitated for the creation of several independent medias in the country, and simultaneously the rise of the digital technologies. So that enabled the free flow of information. So that is very vital for the strengthening the democracy. So be it an online mode and the offline mode, whatever it may be. But it has been observed like that over the past 3 decades, because that we are celebrating the 30th anniversary. So 3 decades that this World Press Freedom Day celebration have given a prominence to the right to free expressions and emphasizing the various aspects of the freedom's importance. And the global movement celebrating the World Press Freedom Day has definitely grown in a scale, a very wider scale, and provided an inclusive platform to reaffirm the fundamental role of the free and independent press and also the pluralistic media. And why that we are congregating, we are gathering to discuss about the activities of the mass media, thinking about the press freedom, because that we want to take a stock of challenges facing the media freedom and safety of the journalist. That is a major concern nowadays. And this is a special occasion, I can say like that, because we have to inform the citizens of the violations of the press freedoms. And it's a reminder that around the world, media, including online media, are censored, suspended, blocked, and closed down. While the journalists, editors, and the media workers are harassed, they have many instances are like that. They have been fined, they have been brutally attacked by the uh, influential peoples, those who try to squeeze the voices of the media in the country. And very rude activities like this, even if like that we get informations from the media like that, many journalists have been murdered, brutally murdered. You may take the cases of the Daniel Paul is an best examples. And the day that we are celebrating, that to encourage and develop the initiatives in favor of the press freedom and to assess the state of the press freedom all over the globe, around the worldwide. And it is a reminder to the governments of the need to respect the right of the freedom of the expression, because the democratic setup of the country, the government is taking the sole responsibility, and the media is taking very noble initiatives that to serve the society in a better manner, thinking about the welfare of the society. So definitely that the government has a very good responsibility, and government should come with a proactive approach that to safeguard the media interest and the people who are man the media industries, the journalists. And it's a day is basically reflection among also the journalists. So it is a day of the journalist also, that they have to make an assessment and evaluation like this, what issues of the press freedom and the professional ethics are there.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to ask the second question. As we know, the theme of World Press Freedom Day in last year was journalism under surveillance, and in 2021 was information as a public goods. So, what is the theme of World Press Freedom Day in this year?
So the last 2 years, the consecutive 2 years, we have a very striking slogans for the press freedom day. One was like that the journalism under the surveillance means the digital seas, and in 2021, so we had is the information as a public good. So information has a enormous potentialities. It's a very powerful that to change and to bring a new shape to the country's overall development. And the country that is more informative, the country that is more powerful. A slogan is also there. So this year that we are having a also a very good and title, we can say like that, with which the people all over the world they are very conversant with. That is called the shaping of future of the rights. And freedom of expression is considered as a vehicle, as a driver of for the all the other human rights. Once like that the this freedom of expression rights will be fulfilled, exercised, so it will ultimately that fulfill the other rights. And the freedom of expression, as Javed as an anchor was telling at his introductory address like that, it basically enshrined in the Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. And the preamble of the 1948 Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, UDHR, that outlines the four important fundamental freedoms are there. The freedom of the speech, the freedom of belief, the third one is the freedom from the fear, and the fourth one is called the freedom from the want. So if we will deeply see like that, the sequence and the chronology of the freedoms that has been emphasized in the UDHR. So it is not incidental that the freedom of speech comes first. Rather, why it is very important, the significance of this freedom of speech and expression is because it enables the all the other freedoms. So that's why that this year that we have focused and we have emphasized on this freedom of expression. That is very vital for enabling the people that to come out from their reserve zone, that to have some kind of the effective participation, thinking about that how the information seems to be very powerful and it can change their lifestyles.
What is the World Press Freedom Day? Conference, as we know, World Press Freedom Conference.
The main objective of the World Press Freedom Conference is to network with the press freedom defenders from all around the world. And this platform has been created, the conference, the constellation of the many and experts, be it from the media professionals, be it from the academics and the journalists, the critics, the development experts. So they join their hands in this platform. And this particular platform provides a rare opportunity for hundreds of representatives of the media, law, policymakers, human rights defenders, even agencies, and to network and explore the new ideas and the issues that is associated with the press freedom. And the conference also serves as a platform to discuss the latest developments and challenges regarding the freedom of expression and the press freedom. And every year, one of the most prestigious international award is also conferred to mark this occasion in the press conference. That the freedom conference, the press freedom conference, that is called the UNESCO World Press Freedom Prize, and that is conferred on a person or the organization or any institution that has made an outstanding contribution to the defense and promotion of the press freedom. So that is the objectives of the organizing the World Press Freedom Conference.
Thank you, sir. Many conferences were cancelled during COVID-19, but why WPFC held successfully?
As we know, like that, the COVID-19 crisis have sucked the entire world. It is not our country, but all over the globe has got a very huge suck with the introduction of this COVID-19. Many times also we have been nowadays the defining when we are deeply analyzing the status of the media. Sometimes the critic says like that is a COVID-19 crisis is there in the media. Okay, so in COVID-19, it was urgent attention on gathering the free and the fair information, because during that time the spread of information to understand the crisis, to know about the viruses and how to overcome these particular kind of the critical issues and critical situations. So that was the foremost objectives. So at that time, the communication experts and the government also, they pay their maximum focus on that how the information will be flown in the society in a very smooth manner. So the very genesis of the press freedom is always an important topic for the entire globe, and the journalists and media basically play a very crucial role in the dissemination of the reliable informations to the public, because during a health crisis it is utmost important that what sort of the information that you are consuming, whether it is the right information or the wrong information. And media was providing the information to the public and helping the people that how to deal with the pandemic situation. And also the media was not taking a pause by fulfilling only the primary responsibility that to inform and intimate and disseminate the information, but also the media was monitoring that how the people after receiving the information are taking the several decisions to combat and to deal with this kind of the critical issues. So the two major issues during that time, the COVID time, was one was the restrictions faced by the journalists. So journalists across the globe faced restrictions because there was a travel restrictions was there. And the second one was like that, the intimidation by the authorities. You might have witnessed like that during the COVID crisis, so many journalists, they lost their jobs. And the practice was like that you have to work from the home. But it was not possible for the television journalist. So many media platforms, they faced a severe constraints to work in a very proper manner during this kind of the crisis. But despite all these things, the media became able to, the journalists, the very responsible journalists, so they came forward and despite all these difficulties, so they became able to spread the right kind of the informations and help the people a lot that how to deal with this, combat this COVID-like crisis across the globe.
Thank you, sir. I would like to remind our listeners that you are listening to Ravenshaw Radio 90.4, and we in our guest panel have Dr. Jayant Kumar Swain, who's assistant professor in Department of Journalism Mass Communication in Ravenshaw University and has 15 years of experience in media and news industry. So with this, sir, I would like to ask you the next question. What is the scenario of the press freedom in India?
See that when we are uh, speaking about that and debating about the press freedom, so freedom of the press is nowhere mentioned in the constitution, and it is believed to be covered under the freedom of speech and expression. So whatever the rights that has been guaranteed by the constitution for the common peoples, so that is also applicable for the mass media. And the right of a common citizen is basically same as the right of the media and the press house. And the freedom of speech and expression, as we know, uh, it is enshrined in the article 19(1)(a). So that encourages the independent journalism. Like a person has a rights that to speak certain things, have a right to speech, right to receive information, right to provide information, and right to gather also the information. So the same kind of the rights is applicable to the mass media professionals. And the creation that this fundamental rights that encourages the independent journalism, and also it promotes the democracy by letting the people voice their opinion for or against the government action. So many times that the critics says like that, though there is a freedom, so media sometimes misutilize this kind of the rights and the powers. And sometimes media is showing its biasness, media is relating to or the dealing with a particular kind of the or the favoring a particular kind of the party or an ideologies. So that was the again question.
So I would like to ask you the next question. What is the scenario of press freedom in India?
So freedom of press is nowhere mentioned in the constitution, as it is believed to be covered under the freedom of speech and expression, and hence the right of a common citizen are the same as the rights of a media or the press house. So this freedom of speech and expression that is enshrined in the article 19(1)(a) that encourages independent journalism. As a citizen, you have a right to express your thoughts, and right to gather also the information. So as a journalist also, we are gathering the informations from the various sources. And this particular kind of the activity, this independent journalism and the responsibility as a citizen is always like that, how to promote the democracy. And media is moving a step ahead and is showing its social consciousness, and it promotes the democracy by letting the people that how to voice their opinions for or against a particular kind of the system or the institution. Regarding free exchange of the ideas, media is inspiring people that how to think beyond the social norms, and giving a platform to exchange their ideas and the thoughts with the rest part of the globe.
Okay, sir. Sir, do you think press in India gets the freedom they deserve?
One thing I will like to add.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for the interruption. One thing I would like to add, that in order to make sure that the justice is served properly, so media is bringing certain issues before the common people, that people try to cover up their actions and settle a case without bringing the media into it. Sometimes what happens like that, if you are associated with a particular problem, so you don't want that the interventions of the media, so you try to solve it. And when the media intervenes, that many times that we see in the television channels, people saying like that, why, what is your stake in my particular issue? I am handling my issue, so what is your requirement? Why you are capturing the visuals? Why you are showing to the other publics? But it is required, because it will ensure like that how you are getting the justice. Other peoples will also get to know. The society will learn a lesson from this kind of the activities. And regarding the voice of the people, that focuses on the issues basically that is suspect, and bring forward the ones that should be talked about. So many times that we didn't know like that what exactly the right kind of the issues that is to be talked about, and the media is generally bringing that things to the limelight. And it is debated with many times that we have a strong debate that with the recent trend, you can say like that, there is a raids are there, like the BBC on the financial economic rates was there, finance rate was there. Many a journalists are getting arrested. The hostile takeovers of the different kinds of the media, Indian press freedom, the to the critics, they say like that the Indian press freedom continues to decline. And I will not elaborate much on the uh, different kinds of the issues that we have seen in the past, like the resignation of the Ravis from the New Delhi television NDTV, the BBC tax rate, the most famous and striking line that is very famous in the social media, that is called the editor is missing, the Ruben Banerjee from the Outlook. So many instances are there, but the statistics shows like that the media has plummeted to the 150th position in the world press freedom rank. And for the listeners, that I would like to say that there are 3 countries are there which are in the top position: the Norway and the Denmark and the Sweden. So they have a very good rank in the World Press Freedom Day, because the press is very free and they are exercising that a very good environment, that the rights in disseminating the information and functioning as a media institutions in these particular countries.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. That was a very valuable information which you gave in the last line. How should, sir, how should a country look like where press gets their freedom?
A country, it is not a very top job for a democratic setup of a country, because here like that we have provided the many rights, and a diversified people are there. So we have a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is the concept is there. And India's beautiness is, the democracy's beautiness lies with that whatever the decisions that we take, that is a collective decision. Okay. And your question regarding like that, what should be the feature of a country, and where the press will get their freedoms. So the first thing that I can say like that, the country where the publication should be very free from any kind of the prior censorship. So in the country where there is a very less number of the censorship, so definitely that the media will function in a very free manner. And attacks on any government officials, political parties should not be punishable even after the event. So it has been seen like that many countries, that if the media is attacking on any kind of the wrong activities, wrongdoings that was made by the any authoritative bodies, and media was severely critically punished for that. So I can say like that this should be avoided. Okay. And there should be no compulsion to publish anything. It is the rights of the people, but we cannot that put any kind of the clutches over the activities of the mass media, because we know like that they have a social responsibility. They are very much concerned about that, how to shape and how to unite, bring integrity in the society. No restrictions should be placed for gathering the informations for publications, and the country where the act of publication and distribution should be very open to a person, and there should be no restrictions on getting or sending the information overseas, but there are certain kind of the restrictions are there, that very sensitive informations relating to the country we cannot disclose to the foreign countries and to pass it beyond the borders. So it needs some kind of the permissions. And journalists should have a professional autonomies, that every year, it's not this year that we are talking about the freedom of the press, but starting of this kind of the celebration of the Press Freedom Day, be it a National Press Freedom Day or the World Press Freedom Day, we always say like that the journalists should have a professional autonomy within their organizations. But what exactly the reality, many times that we have been facing a lot many debates and the dialogues on this, that how far, how much the people in the media houses have the maximum autonomy in exercising their talents, creativity in providing the informations to the larger masses. So that is a big questions forever, I can say. And many, that the institutions, the civil society, government even like that, is nowadays realizing the potentiality of the mass media and is very concerned about that, how to ensure that the professional autonomy in a media institutions.
Thank you, sir. I would like to come the next question. Do you think is there any negative effect of press freedom to the people?
Press freedom is not bad, but sometimes that the people, the critics generally say like that if you will provide the maximum freedom to the press, it will create a devastation. Many people says like that the maximum freedom will be given, then the press will function in a very smooth manner, and the people will get the diversified information in a very critically analysis basis, and it will help them that to improve, and the country's development will become possible. So what I would like to say like that a flourished society and a stable nation and the prosperity of the people so is possible when there is a basic establishment of the human rights and the freedom of speech and access to the education and the health care. So if people deeply analyze the three important elements that is very vital for the individual development and the national development also. It is that your knowledge development and it is your health, is the health improvement is there, and also it is like that to know how to exercise your human rights and how to that the avail the benefits of the human rights that has been guaranteed to you. And negative effects when we are talking about, we can say like that the way there is a mushrooming growth of the mass media industries, many mass media industries are there, basically that we have been facing a constants many a times from the social media platforms, because we have a notion like that these media industries have no checkpoints. So a consumer becomes a producer, so at the same time you are a consumer, you are a producer. Nobody is there that to put a clutch over how much space that you are consuming, what exactly you are registering. So that is a trend nowadays, that is of the fake news. Many times that we are, and the people are also taking the advantage of this fake news for their own interest, self-interest. So the concept of the fake news, the misinformation, the disinformation, sometimes that deliberately we provide the false informations to the people, and sometimes that for our own benefit, own interest, that we try to manipulate the informations. So the misinformation concept and the disinformation concept, and sometimes also you might have seen like that the multiple function operations of the mass media have created an information overload. We are not realizing that how much exactly is to be consumed and is to be grasped by the common citizens. So whatever is there in our mind, we try to compose it and we try to push the audiences that to consume that in a fullest possible manner. But sometimes that the people fails to understand, relate it, that what exactly the requirement and significance of this content. So sometimes it is a information overload is there, and also we can say like that the one of the important negative aspect may be like that the media is sometimes showing a one side views towards a particular things. People are recognizing the media houses in the name of the owners nowadays. So sometimes it provides an one-sided views, and also the media is creating nowadays a space where the people are forced to debate and the dialogue on a particular kind of the issue that is prioritized by the media. It is not the priority by the common peoples. And this kind of the attitude, the stereotype attitude, basically rejects the debate and the dialogue for the effective participation. Because the issues should be, people should know that how to prioritize the issues and which issue is to be addressed first. But the media on behalf of the people is deciding and providing the common people as a diet, that this is your diet that you have to debate and discuss on this particular issue.
Thank you, sir. What kind of abuse does press face in day-to-day life?
See, abuses, it's on the daily basis that everyday life that the media persons while they are doing their performing their duties, so they face many types of the constants. Censorship, we can say, is a major constants. The political pressures are there. Intimidation, you can say. Job insecurity is a major things, I can say, job insecurity. And there is a severe attacks on the protection of the journalist sources. So across the world, journalists face a countless threats every day, and ranging from that is the kidnapping, torture, arbitrary detention, to disinformation campaigns and the harassments, especially on social media. And you will surprised to know like that the women journalists are basically at a particular risk. So you will find that many trolls are there on the social media, and they are commenting, harassing. Psychological harassment is there for the women journalist. Many issues have been reported, not only in our country but from the other countries are also there. So abuses are there, but it is the responsibility of the government and the monitoring agencies that who are monitoring these kind of the media platforms. So there should be a very stringent rules and the regulations. A very strong regulatory framework is to be designed, that how to safeguard the interest of the journalist and how to overcome these kind of the issues, unwanted issues, I can say.
Thank you, sir. This was very bad to hear that. Is security of press an important concern?
See, like that, for a developed nation, a free press is required to create an informed citizens. So you have to create an environment where the press will function in a very smooth manner and the free manner. So when the freedom of expression and media freedom are muted, when you will mute that, all of our freedoms will be at risk. And freedom of expression, the free flow of information and the press freedom. So these are basically considered as the preconditions for the realization of the development goal. And what sort of the development goal that we are targeting now? What has been emphasized in the G20 summits, like this is a sustainable development. So sustainable development goals, the agenda 2030, how it is to be achieved? It can only be achieved when there will be a participation, effective and active participation of the common peoples. And that responsibility is now soldiered by the mass media professionals. So without this kind of the freedom of expression, we cannot eliminate the other issues also. The other major issues for the country, maybe like this, the poverty, hungers, and the most striking issue is like this, the how to preserve the biodiversity, environmental sustainability, and they promote the sustainable development, and we have to create a transparent institutions. So they are indispensable in the fight for the rights of the minorities and the marginalized peoples, to combat all kinds of the discriminations, to build diverse and inclusive civic spaces, and to uphold the resilient democracies. So for this reason, to ensure all these things like that, the security of the press is very vital, what I think on this special occasion.
Thank you, sir. Do you think press freedom can change the thoughts process of news consumers?
Yeah, definitely that the press freedom is has a very a very strong relationship with the thought process of the news consumers. It generally gives a new shape to the thinking pattern, ideas and the ideologies of the new consumers. As we know like that, there is a right to access information is the corollary of the freedom of expression. And why it is a corollary? Because like that it allows us that to seek, receive and impart the informations, ideas, beliefs, that is across the borders and the cultures. So now people across the globe are realizing that the threat to their life posed by the climate change, and to protect the environment, freedom of expression plays a very important role. And access to verified information on environmental issues is crucial for the citizens. Without a free flow of information and the help of media in this effort, most cases of malpractice, corruption, human rights violation, that would remain hidden in nature. And without the collective awareness of these violations, we would not be able to act to address them. So without facts, you cannot have the truth. Someone has rightly said that if you do not have any kind of the facts, you cannot have the truth. And without the truth, you cannot have the trust. And without trust, we have no shared reality, no democracy, and it becomes impossible to deal with our world's existential problems. Maybe the climate, maybe the coronavirus, and the battle for the truth. Okay?
So that was a very great session, question answer session with you. But after the conclusion of all the questions, I would like to ask you the last question. What is your take on press freedom?
See that media freedom, safety of a journalist, and freedom of expression are increasingly under attack. This is not I am saying, it's a report says, many news says. And which impacts the realization of the other human rights. So the international community face a multiple crisis, conflicts, and violence that is persistent socio-economic inequalities driving migration, environmental crisis, challenges to the health, well-being of the people around the world. So while the disinformation and the misinformation, maybe the online and the offline, that proliferate with serious impact on the institutions that is underpinning the democracy. So I can say like that it is the need of the hour to verify and disseminate the facts. That is very important for the present day society, because that is a opening floodgates of the informations. We are consuming a multiple informations in the multiple forms and relating to a single incident. So definitely that the people basically in the developing countries that who are not that much of the literate to understand the criticalities of the media content. It is not that how the media content is generally perceived by the audiences, but we have to understand the signs, symbols, language, the connectivity between the kind of the concepts that we are introducing in the news, maybe the entertainment and whatever the form it may be. So it is the need of the hour that to verify and disseminate the facts. And media should shoulder the responsibility that to create a space for ideas. That ideas is to be debated, and for the efforts should be taken care by the media that for the voiceless to be heard. And how to bring the voiceless people to a particular platform where they will register their viewpoints without any kind of the fear. So they will participate in the very important and sensible topics, and they will involve in the debates and the discussions. And media should give more emphasis to include the most isolated, marginalized communities, what exactly has been also emphasized in the G20 targets, and marginalized communities, and we have to inform them about their fundamental freedoms. And also media should also provide them some kind of the path, some value loaded informations that how to exercise these kind of the objectives. As we know, like the journalists are the pillars of the reform, journalists are the pillars of the freedom, journalists are the pillars of the democracy. And the champions, journalists happens to be, media happens to be the champions of the people who have no voices. So this freedom of expression can become possible when we are making some initiatives. Media, if the media will take certain initiatives that how to the voiceless peoples will register their voices in a very constructive and the effective manner. So that message I can give on this special occasion.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a great session, having a chit-chat session with you. That was a great question hour session. With this, I would like to remind people that you are listening to Ravenshaw Radio 90.4, and we had our guest in honor, Dr. Jayant Kumar Swain, who's assistant professor in Department of Journalism and Mass Communication in Ravenshaw University, and who has 15 years of experience in media and news industry. This was a great honor for us having you as a guest for our panel. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. This was our honor to do this show with you. And yes, we we and our listeners got an amazing experience listening you. With this, I would like to thank you and our listeners. Signing off, I am RJ Soumyashree,
And I'm RJ Javed.
concluding today's session. Stay tuned, Ravenshaw Radio 90.4 FM.
प्रिय श्रोता बंधु 90.4 मेगाहर्ट्ज रे आपण माने सुनुचंती रेवेन्सा रेडियो ओडिसा रो प्रथम कैंपस कम्युनिटी रेडियो स्टेशन।